Happy Monday. It is December 16th. Welcome to ATI Pro Media. A lot of times, we start building this show over the weekend, the night before, and a lot of times it just builds itself. And guess what? I think we got to talk about the Farm Act. Brady mentioned it Friday, right? Drop your question, whatever you want to say. Remember, we're talking about this. We might ruffle some feathers, but we're going to talk about facts, not feelings. Make sure you know what the Farm Act is. Give our couple opinions, look at a few stats. We'll go from there. Other than that, feels like we got a holiday trade going on right now. Market's open. We're in the green, but it's not moving a whole lot. And then let's also talk about commitment of traders report, see where the fund position is. Kind of unique for this type of year, right? Every year's different, but interesting to see, right, where the bets are coming in for funds. With that, Brady, let's quote up the markets. Let's dive into it.
All right, let's dive into your markets here. March corn up a penny right now, 443. Jan beans up a penny as well, 989, tickling that 990 area. Back end months are a little red on the board, down 3/4 to 2 cents on the back end of beans. Looking over at your wheat market, Chicago wheat's up 3 cents at 565. KC wheat is up 4 cents. Over at your feeder cattle, up a buck on March, up 40 points on the Jan. Over in the fat cattle, up 10 points, 10 to 15 points. Lean hogs up as well. Energy markets, we got crude rolling over, tick down 40 points, diesel down a penny, nat gas down 7 to 8 cents. Nat gas, those energy markets are moving everywhere. Looking at your equity markets, the Dow's up 70, the S&P up 22 points, and the NASDAQ screaming higher, up nearly 200 points, 190 on the board.
Good stuff. Correct me if I'm wrong, but just looking, Friday we saw pretty negative trade looking at corn, soybeans, but I think we're back to levels before our pre-WASD numbers. Is that right? Looking at March corn, Brady?
I believe so. Yeah, I'd have to go fact check that, Connor B. But yeah, we've given up a lot of that rally there that we had midweek. I think corn closed up 2 cents on the week last week. Beans closed down a nickel or so on the week last week. But yeah, giving it back some. So
Interesting. Well, I'll tell you who's doing their part in the corn market is the funds, right? The funds continue their bullish bet looking at the corn market. Here's that chart, right? And continue to add to the gross longs, right? We're getting into areas, 2020, 2022, 2021 years we like to talk about in grain markets, right? We're seeing that. I think the only difference is, Brady, is typically when funds decide to get long in grains, right, we're going to see corn, soybeans, wheat generally move in a similar direction. We're not seeing that, right? We continue to see net short position in soybeans. And, in Central Illinois, I don't talk a whole lot about spring wheat, but I did see that it was a record short position in spring wheat. So interesting, the dynamics at play there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we got to keep in mind that data is as of Tuesday, I believe, right? So that's the day of the WASD. So that's kind of in that rally, pricing in that WASD point there on that corn position, that total position. But yeah, that time of year, funds moving things around, and anytime they have a long position like they have on the board now, you got to be cognizant of them flipping sides and running to the exits. These markets can move pretty fast, even when it's boring holiday trade like it is right now.
Well, yeah, exactly. And it feels like when, if we have soybeans, wheat, still maintaining a short position, corn being that big long, it almost feels like, are we going to see something break, right? Are we going to see some form of correction? We hope it's in the form of funds getting long, soybeans, wheat, but time will tell there. Anything on for COT in terms of cattle, meats, anything like that, Brady?
Yeah, glad you brought that up. On the cattle side of things, the meat side of things, funds remain record long in that combined position. I think they're 3 times longer than their 5-year average when you look at that position. But this is combined fat cattle, feeder cattle, and hogs. They're long the market. They're long the meats, Connor B.
Well, good stuff. Well, looking forward to this week, right? I know everyone's got. It feels like Christmas is going to be here before we know it. I've got Christmas pageants to go to. It's going to be busy. But other thing we're going to be looking at, we got a Fed rate decision, right? When it is that Wednesday? What day is that?
Wednesday, I believe. Yeah, and we'll get Jay Powell's comments, and we'll get the dot plot. We'll get all sorts of little data and clues as to what the future holds for future rate cuts. I think that's probably the biggest thing. I think the 1/4 point cuts pretty much almost a given. Everybody's anticipating the quarter point cut here on Wednesday, but everybody's going to be dissecting those little bits and clues to see what they think for the future and their tone is on everything going forward.
Good deal. Well, uh, with that, I think we need to talk about it. And I gotta say, Brady, I don't know if you knew, but you had your crystal ball where you mentioned the Farm Act and just discussing it Friday, right? You said drop a question. I don't know if we had any questions, but interesting. And then over the weekend, right, we really kind of saw it blow up. It's the mentions on Twitter. We'll get into that, but I just want to say, uh, good prediction there, and make sure you clue us in for the rest of the week. What else we have to predict?
Yeah. Well, I was anticipating people would leave comments below on their thoughts of the Farm Act. I didn't know they were going to write letters to senators and congressional leaders of the House on their opinions there. So it was a little bigger call to action than I thought it was initially. But yeah, the call out there took off like crazy. I don't know. Highly controversial topic. What do you think, Connor?
Let's get into it, right? The first headline I think we need to talk about is just over the weekend, we saw that the negotiations for this market relief package have stalled. Okay. So, market relief assistance for farmers reached an impasse Saturday after Democratic leaders rejected the latest GOP proposal. Several major farm groups called on lawmakers to oppose a stopgap spending bill if the economic aid is omitted. This is reported from AgriPulse's Philip Brasher. And so, what we're seeing is we're not seeing this getting passed. We're seeing GOP, congressional Republican, all across the board. They're announcing that they're not going to pass the stopgap spending bill if we do not see some type of economic aid. Then we're also seeing different farm groups, lending organizations, American Soybean Association, come out in support of this Farm Act, and they want to see it pass, right? I guess my question, I'm just going to ask it, Brady, is, we're seeing these different organizations, these different lawmakers, politicians say they want this. Does the U.S. farmer want it? Right? That's my question. Does the U.S. farmer want this economic relief package?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think some other shows have done some inside polling and shown that maybe not everybody wants it. Maybe some mixed feelings there. I think there's people on both sides of the aisle, but yeah, I mean, it's not the first boom or bust cycle in ag. We have these, big market years where markets go crazy, and then they have a staggering sell-off. And when you come off record highs and you have you're going to have some big statistical numbers of we're down 20, 30% over the last couple years in prices because we've come off some of the highest commodity prices we've seen ever. It's not the first time. I mean, every cycle has its own unique situation. I don't think inputs have, they're all a little bit different, input situation, cash rent, all those things. But to me, Connor, this, anytime we have to bail out a segment of the world of America, you have to ask, is the current fail-safe working? Is the current tools we have in place, is the current system working properly for everybody? Not for everyone, but I don't know. In life, it ain't all about. Not everyone's gonna be a winner in life, Connor. There's gonna be a few losers out there, but I guess that's a free market.
Yeah, well said. I completely agree. Well, here's the thing: is we're talking about the Farm Act. Great article from Farm Doc. U of I. It just said, "What is the Farm Act? Like, what can we if this thing passes, right? What can we expect?" And I think it could really change. But right, we're looking at. I'll just read it through you. Right, the proposal is we're kind of looking at getting an expected gross return per acre. Right, that just takes the average farm price for 24-25, multiplied by the 10-year average national harvested yield per acre. So 10-year average on yield.
Okay.
Then we're going to take expected cost of production based on recent forecasts by USDA. Then we'll get an economic loss, which will be cost of production minus return, and then we'll get a payment 60% of that multiplied by eligible acres. And then go from there. So when I think this, I'm focusing on corn, but what is that? 9 commodities, right? Are all eligible for this type of assistance. So it's not really based on individual, individual production, individual farm economics, right? It's kind of just a blanket thing, is what they're proposing.
Hmm. I wonder how they tag. Did it say in there anything about how they tag what commodities you have, or if I'm in Texas and we have a lot of cotton acres in Texas and maybe cotton pencils to have a big payout, that the Texas farmers are the bigger winners of this type of bailout. We'll have maybe some regional
Yeah.
discrepancies on there based on crop mix that
Yeah,
we have.
here is just the estimated farm payments
Okay.
by county. So as you can see, you said it best. Again, you're spot on, Brady. Is just looking at Texas, is that's really, Texas, Georgia, Alabama is really where we're seeing uh, big payouts
Hmm.
compared to like Illinois, Iowa. We're seeing some, but probably not the big ones. And maybe is that related to uh, cotton? Because payments we could do corn, soybeans, wheat, cotton, rice, sorghum, oats,
Yeah.
barley. So
I think there's some
yeah,
weather stuff in there as well, but I'm not sure how that ties into it all. But I don't know. Digging into the policy details and all that, that's where way beyond my expertise. But I don't
yeah,
know. Anytime you add liquidity to a market and you do a bailout type direct payment type stuff, in the short term, yeah, that alleviates some problems. But where's that money going? It's going to trickle through. My job, equipment sales. We talked about that last week. Tractor sales down 15, combine sales down 25%. It's going to trickle through all those industries, which is a good thing short term, but long term, what are the consequences of that? And we just seem to be on this hamster wheel of bailout in this segment, bailout in this sector, all across, our whole economy. And is that good for our system long term, Connor B? I
yeah.
don't know.
And even taking it one step further, whether it's good or bad, are we going to see current administration, right, take on that type of mindset, right? And so when I hear things of like Department of Government Efficiency, different terms, right, can we expect to see those type of payments? The last time we got a big government payment, Trump was in office, right? My gosh, what
Mm-hmm.
was it called? The MFP payments? Was that in 1819 that we saw the big payments in terms of
Was it
soybean
CARES and
acres?
MFP? A number of different packages that were kind of pumped out then. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So interesting. We'll see where it goes. Right now, it feels like it's really stalled. We're seeing certain people saying that they're going to oppose a stopgap spending bill just if they don't see the economic aid. I wonder how much, in the grand scheme of things, is their voice is going to be heard and we're going to see it. I don't know, right? Time will tell. We've seen this before. Maybe it could also be just how we see follow through in terms of commodity prices throughout the year, right? If we see some type of bullish uptick, I got to think that that the farm bill, maybe we quiet it down, but who knows, Brady?
Mm-hmm. Yep. I don't know. I wish the markets would do their job and take care of themselves. And at one point in time, Connor B, though, we did have $5 corn back in May on the board, and we had $12 beans on the board in May. So we had some opportunities out there. Um, if I did a great job hedging and doing my due diligence, I guess I don't know. I feel obligated that I have to take that payment too, but maybe I'm in a good spot there too. I don't know. It's very controversial. We can dig ourselves into a hole if we say the wrong thing, so we got to be careful a little bit. But um, uh,
Yeah, that's okay. If you disagree, leave us a mean comment. It wouldn't be the first one. We can take it. And so with that, right, I saw a lot of this is going to be a good one, Brady. So get ready
okay.
if you want to exit out and leave me hung up to dry. But a lot of it was just talking about working cap, right? Liquidity of the U.S. farmer is bad. I think one of them said that it's been tough for 3 years, which
Mm-hmm.
going back to 21, I find that hard to believe. But then I just saw this where it's just looking at working cap. This is for the Illinois farmer, so keep that in mind, right? This is maybe I've got tunnel vision, but when I look at that, I look at I don't see a whole lot of liquidity, working cap issues when I look at that chart. So
Mm-hmm.
that's just one thing. Those are questions that pop in my head. Again, facts, not feelings. But we'll see where we go, right?
Yep. Yep.
So,
I don't know, Connor B. I don't know.
all right, let's get some questions and we'll get out of here. At the
I'll
very
read
least,
this one off here. Luke, at the very least, we need some kind of ERP sort of aid. The entire East Coast did not have the record yields of the I states. Ohio, Minnesota, and plenty of other states had issues that really hurt. Good comment, Luke.
yep. Well said, right? Especially after I just popped up Illinois, right? We got to keep in. Don't let me get blinders, Luke. Right? I'm looking at the Illinois Iowa farmer, and that's where I'm connected to. But you're exactly right. Right? Let's look. Let's look at all that. I'm gonna look. Where? How does it look on the East Coast when I look at this
Yeah,
map?
pull that map back up there. That's interesting. So, South Carolina touch into that. A little higher payments there in some of the North Carolina counties, but very, very much depends which county you're in there on that for the projection.
Yep. All right. What was our what else we have?
Russ there.
Pop it up there. Let those who have made foolish spending decisions reap what they sowed.
Nathan,
Okay.
you're gonna get a call from Elon and Vivek. I think they're gonna bring you on the committee, Department of Government Efficiency there.
All right. Well, good stuff, right? Hopefully we educated you a little bit. If you got any questions, if you want to leave us a mean comment on it, just go right ahead. We're ready. With that, Brady, any other closing thoughts? We'll wrap up the show. Premium this week, I think we got a good lineup in store, but always we want to, premium subscribers. What do you want to talk about? What do you want to hear from us? We'll make sure to put it together. But yeah, any closing thoughts? We'll go ahead and wrap up the show.
Tell us what you think below, good or bad, the good, the bad, the ugly. Tell it all. Let us know how you feel about the Farm Act, the proposed bill, Congress stuff. We'll see you guys tomorrow.
See you.